Tonight, we are pleased to host a key figure at the heart of U.S. diplomacy in the region, the United States Special Envoy to Syria and Lebanon, Mr. Tom Barak, and one of the closest friends to the President Donald Trump. This marks his third visit to Lebanon in recent months, aimed one of the most complex political and economic chapters in the country's modern history. Mr. Barak, thank you for joining us, and you are welcome at the Al-Jadid studios in Beirut.
What a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It sounds good to have some words in Arabic. So, أهلا وسهلا بك في قناة الجديد.
شكرا.
You speak Arabic?
شوي badly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, is there something you want to say to the Lebanese people tonight in Arabic? Just one word or one sentence?
My one word in one sentence is better in English, which is that the return of my soul to the place that it began is why I'm here. So whatever we're going to talk about comes from my desire and my intent to restore the harmony in this unbelievable country, that what's made it great. So whatever we're going to talk about, I just would like people to understand that it comes from a place of knowledge, which is not mine. It's really the President of the United States, who's intent on helping at this critical moment. And languages, borders, without boundaries is the objective. So part of you speaking to me in English in a country that is blessed with a population that speaks multiple languages is really the key. The return of the resources, which are the greatest, unbelievable, amazing resource in the entire region, is all of you. So I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to try and help in any way that I can. And America's committed to try and make a difference at a difficult time.
Thank you again for this interview. So I will start. You visited today Speaker Nabih Berri, who is the main negotiator with Hezbollah. So what was the outcome of that meeting?
Outcome is he has the greatest chocolate candy anybody could ever imagine on the way out. Look, Speaker Berri is one of the most astute, thoughtful, considered, brilliant politicians, not only in the region, but probably in the U.S. So he has 8 decades of experience at understanding these very difficult, complex situations. So my meeting with him was, I think, extraordinary. In listening to how he views the situation, where Lebanon is today as it relates to the other countries in this very difficult zip code, what America can do to be helpful.
So what you heard, what is his point of view?
His point of view is it's a time to bring temperatures down. It's a calming time. We've been here before. Lebanon especially has been here before. Since the 70s, had various interjections. We had a Hezbollah that used to throw flowers on the Israelis when they came in the 70s. So the issue of Hezbollah being a particular problem is not just the problem. It's how do we bring stability, security, and transparency.
There was not Hezbollah at the 70s.
Hezbollah was formed as a result of countering what was happening in the 70s. And at that time, it was not anti-Israeli. They were throwing flowers on the Israelis. You were too young to remember. I remember. We have the same beautiful head, but I'm cycling a little bit ahead of you. So his point is, how can we, as America, help bring calm, ease the tensions on all sides, including Israel, including what is the relationship to the rest of the region. And he's very insightful and very cooperative.
Is it true that President Berri proposed a 15-day halt of Israeli military ground operations starting from the beginning of August?
No, he proposed much more than that. There's an existing agreement. There's an existing cessation of hostilities agreement. And that agreement had many provisions, including a ceasefire. Now, both sides of those agreements have found impediments to continue that ceasefire. So what we discussed is, what are the ways that we can bring back a commonality to that agreement that existed that calms the waters, including a ceasefire, but more than a ceasefire, what are the steps to get to a more durable solution of all parties? And that's what we discussed. And he was very contributive, as was the president and the prime minister. So we're making headway. I'm hopeful.
Is there an exact proposal from President Berri?
Yes. The proposal is, again, let me just
Can we talk about this proposal?
Sure, but you have the proposal. There's an existing cessation of hostilities agreement. Do you know what it is? I would suggest that anybody who's interested in knowing where we are today, go back to November and look at an agreement that was, at that time, implemented by France, the United States, Israel, and all of the constituencies. Those agreements get strained, like they always have been. What we're trying to do is to reestablish that agreement, say what was wrong with it, why are people upset with it, why is there not a complete ceasefire, and how do we fix that? It's a time where everybody is interested in doing that because we've had some instability in the region that doesn't help Lebanon either. So all the other steps of Lebanon are moving. Economic reform, you're getting a Bank Resolution Act, you have a great Council of Ministries. The president, the prime minister, and the speaker are all moving, trying to do what? Bring security so that the greatest asset you have can return, which are the Lebanese people, right? Every other regional player here is using your best asset, which is the Lebanese people, to build their geography. You need to fix the geography, and to fix the geography, you need security, and that's what we're working on.
So, is there a timeline? Can we say that we have a step forward or not?
Yes. The step forward is we're here, we're working on it. All factions of your government and everybody involved is working towards a solution and a peaceful solution. We as America are here to help that solution. And God willing, it's moving forward and the timeline cannot be long. We don't have time to have an extended timeline. So we're all rushing to get a consensus, a thought, a timeout of saying, bring the temperatures down. Let's take a new look at what's here and how do we create a new regional tapestry of what should be prosperity at the end of the day.
So you say that limiting weapons to the hands of the state is a domestic Lebanese matter. But what happens if Hezbollah refuses to disarm fully?
Number one, I never said limiting arms. I'm saying Lebanon has said, and I think you have a law saying that there's one military. So if that law exists, it's up to you, it's up to Lebanon to decide how does it want to administer that. I mean, everybody is armed in Lebanon. So the difference between small arms and large arms and militias is something the Lebanese government has to decide, do they want to enforce, do they not want to enforce? That has nothing to do with America. What has to do with us is with the border disputes that are happening, especially with Israel, how can we use our influence to convince Israel of the believability and credibility and the viability of a plan that's already in effect from November. And that's what we're here to do, is to calm those waters, use our influence with Israel, use our influence with Lebanon, and saying these are just issues. Let's bring them together and get beyond that so that you can build together. It's everything that's happening in the region. And it's happening. Everybody's cooperating towards that, and it's a short time frame. It's not a long time frame.
Yes. Mr. Barak, you have stated that you don't negotiate through the media. So I fully respect this. But if Hezbollah doesn't agree, so are we going to face another Israeli war in Lebanon?
Look, I would say you're definitely not going to face another Israeli war. No one wants war. They don't. Let me finish. They don't want war. I am not dictating anything to Hezbollah. I don't speak to Hezbollah. I speak to the government. I'm speaking to 3 Ps, right? Yes. And to the 3 presidential officials and a ministry, which is a council of ministers. That's who my dialogue is. That's who America's dialogue is. That's what our ambassador here is dealing with. We're not dealing with Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a part of the Lebanese government. So my conversations are with the Lebanese government. Whatever the Lebanese government, whatever the constituencies within the Lebanese government, there's 19 factions. They need to agree amongst themselves. Hezbollah happens to be one of them. I'm not dissecting those 19 sectors and saying, let me have a discussion with you. I'm not negotiating. I'm a mediator. There's nothing for me to negotiate. We don't have a problem with the U.S. The U.S. has been the biggest supporter of Lebanon for the last 70 years. Continues to be. We subsidize in every aspect. We love Lebanon. And the return of the Lebanese diaspora is a big part of what needs to happen here for the success. So we're just mediating. I'm not negotiating. I'm trying to bring a sense of stability and influence, which the United States has, and says we'll continue to supply our influence if everybody is reasonable. If they're not reasonable, it's just influence. There's nothing to negotiate about.
Mr. Barak, let me ask the question another time. So, according to your meetings with President Aoun, Prime Minister Nawaf Salam, and the Deputy Speaker, Mr. Berri, can we say that there is a step forward?
Absolutely.
And directly, what is this step?
The step forward is a understanding of an agreement that you have in effect since November. There's been a cessation of hostilities agreement that was signed. There's a misunderstanding as to what's happening in that cessation of hostilities agreement, primarily between the Israelis and the Lebanese government. A component of that Lebanese government happens to be Hezbollah.
From both sides?
Yes, of course. Hezbollah is the problem with Israel. The Lebanese isn't. The Israelis have had a love affair also with the Lebanese. So I'm here to help. We've done our homework. The Lebanese government has done their homework. The Israelis for sure have done their homework. And I'm telling you, I think there's progress along the way of coming to a methodology of getting to a deconsolidation of the tension that's now surrounding Hezbollah, Israel, the other segments of the government. And if that happens, that's a major step to all of the other economic reforms that are happening in the government, which are fantastic, but without security and transparency of the people themselves, nothing is going to work. So my goal, my passion, my job on behalf of the U.S. is to try and deconflict that agreement and use our influence to get the parties involved to do what's sensible to get Lebanon to the next place. And I'm confident that that is happening.
Okay. Is there an exact timeline, 2 months or till November or till October?
It's now.
We are hearing about these timelines.
The timelines came to how long do we have to negotiate each part of an agreement that's already in existence that needs to be fixed. What we've agreed upon is it's now that we all needed to move immediately. When you said August 1st, we're almost in August. So my hope would be that we would have an understanding and a reclarification of where we are by the beginning of August. We're running out of time. When you see what's happening in the region, we need to bring stability, and Lebanon should be the first piece in that stair-stepped threshold of getting there. And that's what our goal is.
Are you waiting for a step from the Lebanese government?
We have it. They've been responsive. We have a thorough understanding of what their position is. We now need to bring the parties to bear on some of those issues. But they've done what we've asked. They've been responsive within the timeframes that we said that we thought we could be helpful. We'll now convene all of the other parties that we need to come to a consolidated agreement, and we'll try and effectuate that in real time.
Mr. Barak, it is well known that Iran's involvement is a key factor in this issue. Have there been any discussions with Iran, whether through Saudi officials, U.S. officials, or other allies regarding Hezbollah arms?
Look, I think it's a public fact that, of course, there's been endless discussions with Iran on all facts, starting with Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, nuclear proliferation, all of those facts, and they're still in existence going on in real time. Does that affect Lebanon? Of course it affects Lebanon. Hezbollah is a major component of the Lebanese structure. What happens with Iran, what happens with negotiations with Iran and possible or potential peace treaties on all sides would have an effect, for sure.
And is there any pessimistic or optimistic things?
Look, I'm always optimistic.
It's good.
Diplomacy is the last door before boots on the ground. This president, my boss, has made it very clear that he's a peace and prosperity president, that he will take every act before boots on the ground. And that's exactly what's happening in Iran. So I'm hopeful.
Mr. Barak, you have just succeeded in reaching a solution in regards to the latest events in Al-Suwaida. Do you think that your efforts here in Lebanon will reach positive conclusions similar to what you have achieved in Syria?
What happened in Syria was a consequence of what could happen anywhere, a misunderstanding of two tribes. In the midst of that, a new nascent government, which is not Lebanon's problem. You have an established and well-functioning government. You have a sectarian regime that makes sense. The believability in what was there in the Syrian government was still being tested.
Yeah.
We just intervened. We intervened like we're intervening here in Lebanon and saying the same thing. Everybody, do you want our help? Then get real. Calm down. Let's figure out how we can help. Let's have discussions and dialogue rather than these horrible, unbelievable acts that are taking base at a base level of tribes. It's the same thing. The U.S. is not using its power, its military force, its economic force. We'll use sanctioned force when things go wrong. Counterterrorism is another major problem. As you know, Hezbollah is a foreign terrorist organization in America. The counter-terrorist fact of that is another major interest. But there's no difference of what's happening between Syria and Lebanon, and both are interconnected to why we're so concerned with bringing regional stability here. And our focus is Lebanon and it's Syria.
Mr. Barak, what are the economic reforms that Lebanon has to do?
I think they've stated a set of economic reforms that we think are the key fundamentals to an economic recovery, starting with a Bank Resolution Act, which I think today a subcommittee is approved or is in the process of approving, which is a tremendous step forward. On the heels of that, there'll be a gap agreement, which is an allocation of how do the losses that incurred over the last 7 to 10 years get allocated among shareholders, depositors, and the government. A Justice Act, a Secrecy Act, a customs regeneration of how is VAT and revenues collected, along with a focus on what happens to state-owned enterprises, electricity, water, power, the airport, all revenue increasing entities. But the primary thing is how do they get smart people like all of you back home, which is the competitive advantage in the region. You can have beautiful buildings in Dubai. You can have an incredible Vision 2030 program in Saudi Arabia. All those things are plottable and important. And mostly everybody uses Lebanese people to develop them, to build them, to get there. So we need to bring them home.
We wish we can do that. Finally, Mr. Barak, about the relation between the Lebanese-Syrian relation and your efforts concerning this matter. What is the future relationship as you see?
Look, my belief, my point of view is that Syria and Lebanon are so integrally attached that a stable Syria helps a stable Lebanon, and that Syria needs the resources of the people in Lebanon to help its development. That the regional development in Syria, which has, by the way, my experience with it, which has been vast, and I think this new Syrian government is solid, is stable, that we all need to support them to get to the next phase, and that their view is Lebanon would be a tremendous resource and benefit from the development that would be going on in greater Syria. So I think it's hand in glove. It's compatible. It's not adversarial. They have no interest in being aggressive. And I think it would be a tremendous benefit to Lebanon, which is cycling way ahead of the program and the process that's in Syria. So there's some border issues. I think those can be resolved simply and easily, along with the Israeli border issues. So my hope is a new regional tapestry or mosaic, which is an easier way to look at it, in which Lebanon, Syria, Israel, and its neighbors all finally find a calm place to align themselves with each other and becomes the dominant force in the region.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Barak, for this interview. And you are mostly welcome here in Al-Jadid TV studios. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.